twist today in the escalating battle between the White House and Mayor Brandon Johnson over federal intervention here in Chicago. Johnson today signing a wide-ranging executive order that, among other things, demands that ICE agents identify themselves and not wear masks if they conduct sweeping immigration raids here in the city. But some say the executive order is more symbolic than realistic. Fox 32's Gabriela Primus is live now with more. Gabriela.
Dane, yeah, those that we spoke to said that it is a first of its kind order that Johnson signed earlier today. Now, this order outlined what he says are specific guidelines for a possible upcoming visit from federal agents and troops to the city of Chicago.
We have received credible reports that we have days, not weeks, before our city sees some type of militarized activity by the federal government.
Mayor Brandon Johnson says his office is taking immediate action after what they say are credible reports that Chicago could see deployment of federal agents as soon as Friday.
Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared.
Johnson says he wants not only local agents to follow city requirements, but also federal agents.
As it ensures that there's a clear distinction between our local police department and federal agents. It gives a very clear directive, but it also gives very specific directives to our...
All right, this is a bunch of nothing. No state has jurisdiction over any federal agents, troops, or anything like that. The Democrats can continue to do what they've done and take these things to court and all this type of stuff. But first of all, they can't stop ICE agents from doing deportation efforts and, things of that nature. Where the slippery slope comes in is if the National Guard comes in. But I do know Donald Trump is very strategic with how and when he deploys the National Guard. He will deploy them if necessary to these states which he would be justified for, which is if any ICE agents or any of those people are harmed or people try to impede the progress of what they're trying to do. But basically what they said, this is just a bunch of nothing. And when he says it's a citizen protection order, it's basically designed to, again, it's a bunch of nothing. He can do nothing about it. No jurisdiction over federal agents, personnel, troops whatsoever, none. But what he means by the citizen protection order is he mean illegal immigrants, because he knows he's not a dummy. He's a clown, but he's not a dummy. He knows that these efforts are going to start with like a surge as far as deportations go. So when he says citizen protection order, that's who he's talking about. He's not talking about Chicagoans, right? Because if he was, where was this early in his first few years? What, is he in his second year at this point? Only his second year. He been fucking up stuff his entire time. It just seemed like he's been in there longer than that, and he will not get a second term. If he get a second term, y'all can just push all of Chicago into Lake Michigan. Just go ahead and push it. Y'all thought the Great Fire happened in Chicago? Nah. If he get a second term, it'll be worse than that. But if he does get a second term, it would only be because all those illegal people that he's protecting can vote. That's the only reason he would get a second term. Don't blame that on the black folks. If he get a second term, I just don't see that happening, because with the deportation, you can only do so much. You can only do so much. You can only get so many people up out of here. And then things are delayed when they challenge the president in court and all these type of things. So keep all that in mind.
Law department to make specific FOIA requests so that if there's any immigration enforcement that's happening in our city, we have to know about it.
The mayor's executive order is trying to get support and help and rally the troops behind him, so to speak, in Chicago. It has almost no legal effect whatsoever.
Exactly.
So the claim that the federal officers should wear body cameras and not masks and identify themselves, wonderful, except he doesn't control the federal officers.
Harold Krent is a professor at Chicago Kent College of Law. He says Johnson is making a strong stand with Chicago, but it will have no partial effect if Trump sends troops or immigration agents here. Krent says it's hard to guess what Trump is going to do in the coming weeks.
It seems to have changed his focus from just doing regular crime and law enforcement the way he did in D.C. to focusing more on immigration roundup. It's probably a smart move because the administration is on much sounder legal footing by sending in troops to help ICE officials.
It's not worth the paper it's printed on,
There you go.
in my opinion.
Nick Sposato is the alderman for the 38th Ward. He says there's a lot of fear-mongering going on in the city. He says if relationships were stronger, we'd be in a better place.
We're fighting back with them and saying, Mr. President, let's sit down, let's work this out. We want you to get rid of criminals.
Now, it is unclear what impact Johnson's executive order would have if federal agents and troops were sent to the city. We'll keep you updated. Gabriela Primus, Fox 32, Chicago.
And also, all these scumbags, these leaders trying to sign that now, he's followed the lead of, actually, no. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, is kind of signed kind of the same thing to where they have to identify themselves and wear badges and don't wear masks and all those type of things. Well, the number one reason why they're hiding their identity is because before they were doing that, they weren't being doxxed and their families were being threatened. And Democrats don't care about any of that type shit. They don't care about none of that. First of all, the crux of any of it, they want the immigrants there. They want the cheap labor. They want to get them to vote. They want them to be citizens. That's why they've given them just handouts and all this type of stuff. They're using the same blueprint that got black folks voting for them for 70 years. Give them shit. No matter how detrimental it is to them in the long term, just give them shit. So that's what's going on right there. Getting caught up.
I thank you, Gabriela. And in a statement to Fox 32 Chicago, White House spokesperson tonight said, quote, if Democrats focused on fixing crime in their own cities instead of doing publicity stunts to criticize the president, their communities would be much safer.
And that's all they do. That's all Democrats do, is that they virtue signal, right? So what good was making Juneteenth the federal holiday? Like, what good was that? It would have been better to give people some money. It would have been better to do that, right? What good is a Martin Luther King statue? I mean, that does nothing. What good is, and I'm glad they since erased it, in Washington, D.C., making that whole little plaza, they called it the Black Lives Matter Plaza, where they painted it all on the street and all this type of shit. What good was that? That did nobody no freaking good whatsoever. Like this video, comment on this video, dislike this video, share the video. This is Mr. Info 5000. Peace.